Oh, that's better. I'm sat here for about 10 minutes. Nothing. A problem I've got, well, I don't know if it's a problem, is wood pigeons. There's 2 or 3 of them. They'll sit on that table and empty the tubes, seeds and nuts. Sit there all day long eating them. But they do allow the other birds to come onto the table. Greedy. So there's the bird. Bird sat on the fence. Typical, at least blows off. Nothing happening. I don't know if it's the wrong time of the day, but it's getting up towards 5 o'clock. Now the tubes, I would imagine that if I fill them up every day they would be emptied. You just can't do it. Look at that wood pigeon, nicking all the food again. I'm going to redesign this table, and I'll do that tomorrow. I've took that off for now because it's eating it all. And what's happening, I don't know if you can see because of the sun, it's just sitting on that flat table. It's too easy to get to the food. So with these branches, I'm going to extend the branches out and pointing one this way a little bit more so it's a little bit nearer, and make it more difficult for them pesky wood pigeons pinching all this food. What a beautiful day today. Right, I'm going to sort that bird table out, redesign it to make it more difficult for the pigeons to get to the seed. But I've decided to strip the bark off these branches, and I'm going to treat it with this cuprinol wood stain that I've got, so it should make the wood harder and last longer. Quite enjoying this, it's therapeutic. I feel like, not what's he called, not Bear Grylls, the other guy. Put the comments below that does bushcraft. A little fella. I'll put his name on screen, I can't think now. Mears, that's him. Couldn't stare that again. Can never keep it tidy. Tidy it all up, start doing something. 2 or 3 days later, it's back to square one. hopefully this will allow me to get some better pictures away from the table. You know, like, if I can get the birds sitting on these branches. Oh, nice morning so far. I've redesigned my bird table. It just come to me then, it looks a bit like a Dalek now, with the thing sticking out of it, but it's more natural and it will control the bigger birds and wood pigeons from standing on the flat part of the table and just picking at all the seeds and these coconuts. I will place them towards the end of the branches so there's nowhere for the bigger birds to stand. They've got to perch and kind of lean over, which will make it more difficult for them, and then hopefully that will allow the smaller birds to come on. That's my plan. I'll show you the table in a minute when I fill it up. But before I do that, I've got to move these pots because since I've had the bird table, I'm getting a lot more weeds coming out of them. So I'm going to move them to the area over there and then move a few of the little statue things and just put them down there. Save myself a bit of work in the long run. So yeah, I've seen a few nice little flowers around the garden. Do a little bit of macro photography later on. If the wind stays down. It's nice and flat so far. So this is a lens that I use for photographing the birds. It's a 400mm. It extends quite a lot. Super quality. It's a Sigma 100 to 400mm lens. I used it yesterday up in the lakes. It's a little bit heavy, but beautiful, fantastic lens. Now this lens here is the lens I will use in the garden for the macro photography. See, the wind's getting up now. Can't do anything. I'm going to have a bit of a rant now. A couple of things. Somebody that I know said to me, why do you make them videos sat in your shed talking about birds and photography and flowers and all that sort of stuff morning? They're absolutely garbage. So I said to him, if it annoys you and pisses you off, it's worthwhile. And just shook his head and walked off. His opinion, I'm not bothered. But you must watch him wasting all his time watching me on video. Anyway, another little rant. Footballers, they don't half annoy me. They basically, not all of them, but a lot of them, are dense. Somebody dyes their hair blonde, they all dye their hair blonde. Somebody gets a tattoo, most of them get tattoos. Some of them cut holes in the back of the socks. They all start cutting holes in the back of their socks. What benefit is cutting a hole in the back of your sock gonna make? Nothing. I played football, absolutely nothing. If I was a manager of a football team and one of my players cut a hole in the back of his socks, I'd tell him, change them socks or you're not playing. Yeah? Another thing they do that annoys me, they stand there and pull one leg of the shorts up. Yeah? Why? Why? Why do they do that? One of them puts Vic on the chest. They all put Vic on the chest. You could go on, couldn't you? Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my toast. I've got some wholemeal bread with seeds from Sainsbury's, absolutely scrumptious. A little bit of honey, and then I'm going to crock it outside. Right, that is my new setup. As you can see, the coconuts and the seed tubes are further away from the flat table. I've moved the drinking water to the front. I've put the camera at the back of the drinking water and some seeds down there, so I can isolate the birds more from this vantage point here, where I can shoot from here. But what it should do is stop the pigeons from just sitting on that table and pecking away at the seeds and the coconuts. There's all too central. They just had to stand there and they used to clear everything out. Now it might be a little bit more difficult because the big birds perching on them branches and leaning over. This is my new project, making a flap. So I can just sit in here, shut the door, and it's more relaxing. Just lift the flap out. I will put a piece of camo just over this little area. Less faffing than that big area. Plus in winter time, be a bit warmer because I'm going to put my gas heater in here in the winter. Keep me nice and warm. So I better shut the door. Just come up with it. Just sat there, cappuccino, daydreaming. Next thing, I've cut half my shed away. Just how I am. But it's not cost me anything because I've recycled the lats off my daughter's old bed when they're stained up and treated. They'll be nice and waterproof. Right, I've made the hatch. I was going to do that originally, but I just made a little hole. Obviously it's a learning process, but now I've made a bigger hatch. I can sit on my stool. If I wanted to, I could get my monopod and just sit here. But today I'm just doing it handheld. Made a little hole, put my zoom lens through, and that is much better. Looks a little bit more natural. I haven't had any birds on it yet, but I've only been sat here for about 10 minutes. I've had one or two having a walk. Man down, man down. Look at this. We've had a disaster. All my seeds are everywhere. I don't know. The birds will clear them up. These birds are getting the better of me. I'm going to have to redesign. What's landed on there, an eagle. That one seems pretty solid, and nothing's really been nibbling at that, so that's all right. Back to the drawing board. It's all good fun though. I've just been watching a wood pigeon. It's gone now. By the time I got my camera it had gone. But I made 3 or 4 attempts to try and land on the table. So I think my little plan will work. You can't win. Look at that pigeon. It's perched on that extra length of branch, bending over, pecking away at that coconut. Now I know why the other day the branch snapped. Because it's doing that. They're getting the better of me. These bloody birds are getting the better of me. Look at it, the cheeky get. Look how that branch is bending down. Any ideas?